is there a community that really challenged your perspective? Yes. That project you and I was working on, through the Dublin City Culture Company, it wasn't called that. It wasn't called that at the time. I was working on in that. I was given a group to work with in that little art center that is up the road from you, opposite the hardware store on South Circular.
Rialto thingy.
Yeah.
Rialto. What is it called? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I know which one you mean.
It's kind of looks like a church. It's a red brick building.
Yeah, I know, but I just can't remember the name and it's annoying me, but I'll remember it later.
Yeah. Anyway, I was given a group there of people who it's kind of daycare center for elderly people, and so they come there for, I don't know, 10 o'clock, and they get a cup of tea and they chat, and they, sometimes they do something together. There's a little community garden, and then they get the meal cooked there, and then they go home. Mm-hmm. So I was given this group to work with, and it was really interesting to start to work with them, and I really liked the chats and so on. But it became really, really challenging. They were really questioning what I was doing with them, and they were saying, well, actually, because I was bringing out, very simple things to do with printing and drawing, and really, really simple. And then one woman started to say, well, this is like you were doing something in a primary school. We are actually adults. And then a lot of people didn't want to take part anymore, and some people were quite mentally unstable, and it was really, really challenging. I remember going in there. We were going to do. Oh yeah, it was because I wanted to investigate things through food. I thought food would be a good way to investigate. So kind of the eat art idea, and so. Normally, when I do the eat art, everyone would bring in a recipe of their favorite dish, and we would share the recipes. But one woman said her favorite thing was Irish stew, and then everyone said Irish stew. So the whole room said, no, our favorite dish is Irish stew. So then I decided, okay, well, if everyone thinks that Irish stew is the best thing ever on this earth, let's just do Irish stew, then all of us. So then we kind of, next time I brought in, all the ingredients for Irish stew, except the meat. And we were kind of printing with that and looking at them, and also tasting them before we kind of and really kind of, again, a deep mapping of these ingredients. And then that kind of happened with me at doing that. And then next time I came in, or perhaps 2 weeks later, I had put a recipe of the Irish stew onto a screen, and I had kind of made an idea of how we could print something that was easy enough. But they were quite, they were not, some of them could stand a longer time, but most of them needed to sit, and they got quite tired easily as well, lost sort of concentration. So I kind of made a structure how we could print it. So I kind of came in with an idea, and then they could kind of work in that structure. And then they just said, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this, one woman said. And then all of them said, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. So I remember kind of thinking, okay, so I'll better do this on my own then. So I kind of just stood there in the middle and said, okay, well, if you don't want to do it, I guess better do it my own. And so I started to do the printing on my own. And then finally, one woman came up and said, well, perhaps I'll help you a little bit. And then another one came up and said, well, perhaps I'll give you a hand as well. And then there's a few more came up. But, it was just that kind of moment of, I hadn't expected this at all. And you just have to kind of go with it, what's there. And if I have to print on my own, they're looking at me, then, well, that's what it had to be. Anyway, it worked out fine in the end. They all actually really loved what they had been doing. And the last time when I brought in this piece they've been printing, like a communal piece, they were very pleased with themselves. And and the chef in the place there, he'd made Irish stew for that, so we all can go and have Irish stew, including me, who's a vegetarian, who had to pretend that I was eating Irish stew, and they were all very pleased afterwards. But it's kind of, I think when you work with people like that, you don't know what's around the corner. You don't know what is the next hour. And you just have to be kind of, you're thrown into situations you didn't expect to happen. And you just have to, stand on one leg and think and, do whatever feels right at the time without
Yeah.
feeling that it's a failure. Because I think it's a lot of things in projects when you do, especially with community, you have to allow yourself to fail. Like failure is part of the project of almost of the process.